Brenda Miller. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and I go live every Wednesday at 5 o'clock to share with you some of the things I'm working on and specials at Stampin' Up! And all things Stampin'. So today we are featuring yet another suite from Stampin' Up! Because we are in the midst of our Sweet sale, which just means that if you purchase something from a suite, you get a second item from any suite. Any suite actually, for 50% off. If you have any questions about that, you can head to my website or my blog, where there's a good description for that. But today, let's go ahead and see what card I made. All right, so the suite that we're featuring is called Mixed Media Florals, and it contains two bundles. The first is the Mixed Florals bundle with these gorgeous flowers, and they have dies to cut them out. These are graciously lended to me by one of my downline because I can't own everything all at once. So thank you, Lois, for that. So this is the Mixed Florals bundle, and then the second one is the Mixed Labels bundle, which I do own, and I love. It contains those lovely sentiments that you just saw really quickly, and then it has all these different labels. Now, I only use the stamps on this particular card today, but I've used these many times in the past because I've had it for a little while. But I just wanted to talk about this for one more minute because every month I do a product class, and this is the bundle that's being featured for the month of July, which means that if you purchase this bundle in the month of June, you get a class that has 5 cards that we make together on a Zoom class, and I also give you a PDF tutorial and the replay of the class. So you don't actually have to join the class if you don't want to. You can make the cards on your own, but you'll have all the supplies for 5 cards, and it's a pretty good deal to make use of your new bundle right away. So if that's something that interests you, you're going to want to pick that up and let me know when you do so that I add you to my list. So these are the two bundle elements of the Mixed Media Florals. There's also a embossing folder, which I don't own, but then there are also these. These are called low profile dots, and they are pink and gold, and they're super pretty. But that's what's in the suite, just so that you know. Anyway, so all part of the Sweet sale, which means that if you purchase one bundle, you can get the second one at 50% off. That's pretty good. Or you could buy the whole suite and buy a whole nother suite at 50% off, or any other combinations within. Just know that the lowest price suite item is the one that gets the 50% off. So you want to place your orders strategically. So anyway, let's move on to our card. So this card is one that we made in my class last week in my stamp stack, and this was from Kelly McGill. You know, I always say Kelly because that's a famous actress, but it's Kim McGillis. Kim is one of Stampin' Up's Artisan Design team members, and she created this card, and I thought, oh my God, I just love this card. We colored it in with not blending brushes. Oh dear, why am I drawing a blank on these? But the pens, blending markers, and picking up the color from ink pads, and that's how we got this nice soft color and a little bit of ribbon. And all I did was change it up today for this card, and so this is the one that we'll make today. So just as beautiful, I think, just a different color palette. I even kept the soft colors in the background because I thought that helped pop this. So let's go ahead and see how I did this card. So started out with a piece of, this is the thick basic white cardstock, and it's 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. So it's a vertical card. I don't always make vertical cards, but I think they look pretty cute. Every once in a while, I like to do that. And I then took a piece of soft seafoam, and that is this one. And I did some funky measurements because I was playing around with it. And so this one is 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. And all the measurements you can find in the description for this video, both on YouTube and on Facebook. So we have that. And then I used for the background, you may not have even known it was there, but this is the Elements of Text stamp set. It's a red rubber stamp set, and it has a few different sets of text that you can do in the background, and plus some splotches that help you make your, enhance your background. So I chose to use this one. I have no idea what it says. I don't know if it's English. I don't know if I can even read it. If it's even meant to be read. I don't know. But I'm going to use my soft Seafoam ink pad, and I'm going to ink it up. Whenever my ink pad is smaller or about the same size as the stamp, I like to ink it up upside down like this. Just makes it a little bit easier. Plus, it keeps you from missing parts of it, right? And then I'm just going to stamp this on here, trying to get the words straight. But even if they're not, it's not a big deal. So we'll press that on, and you can see it's just very subtle. Okay, look at that. Isn't that pretty? And we're just going to see a little bit of it, as you saw on the card that we're making. Okay, so we have that, and we can go ahead and adhere this to our card base with just some Stampin' Seal. Get that in there. I'm just putting it right in the middle. For the next piece, though, I went ahead and did a bunch of this in advance. I used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I used this largest circle to cut it out of this paper, and it is 1/4 inch smaller than the soft Seafoam. So it's 4 5/8 and 3 3/8. And again, you can round them up to make them quarters. I was just playing with it, and that's what I came up with. So I also went ahead and I stamped the sentiment using, I used Memento's Tuxedo Black ink, and this is one of the sayings from the Mixed labels. You can see lots of great choices there. That's the one I chose. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to put that aside. So let's go ahead and make our focal point for this card. And we're going to take a piece of basic white cardstock. Now this one actually is thick basic white, just because that's what I had handy. Doesn't matter if you use the thick or the regular. And then we're going to take the stamp. Okay, and you can see my block is a little dirty. Sorry about that. Time to clean the blocks. And again, because the stamp is so big, I'm going to ink it up upside down just to make sure that I get all the little areas. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that onto this piece of basic white cardstock. You can see what a great image that is. And then we're going to go ahead and die cut that out using the corresponding die from the Mixed Florals, which is this one. And you're just going to lay it down and make sure you line it up the way that you like it. Make sure you get all these little flowers. I did cut them off on one of my samples, or I cut the edges off, but you can see we have some special washi tape here. This is Lois's. I'm not exactly sure what brand it is, but I just use regular washi tape. She uses something else. But we're going to go ahead and cut that out using our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to end up with this. Now you could have colored it in first or afterwards, but I chose, just for the sake of this presentation, to color it afterwards. So I had to go with some colors that I had enough of. So I'm using Stampin' Blends on this. So we have the Lemon Lolly. This is the Pecan Pie, and this is both light and dark. And then Old Olive, as well as Balmy Blue. Okay, so these are the colors that we're going to be using. When you color with the blending pens, I usually like to color with the bullet tip. It gives you more definition, but if I have a larger area, I'm going to go ahead and use the brush tip. Now the key to doing this is I'm laying down my light color first all over the flower, okay? Laying it down, coloring it in, and you know what's funny is I saw a flower just like this on my walk this morning, and I'm going to actually post it tomorrow along with the link to this video because I was very surprised. I said, oh, look at that. It's the same exact flower. It was a slightly different color, but so pretty. I love to notice the flowers when I'm walking my dog in the morning. It's a highlight of my day. So anyway, so you can see that I've gone ahead and colored that. And now I'm going to take the dark lemon lolly. I used the light lemon lolly before, and now we're using the dark lemon lolly. See how that is? And I'm going to actually use the bullet tip now that I'm going to be a little bit more precise. And for the rest of the card, I will use this. And what I'm going to do is just basically go along the lines that, and on one side only, the lines from the stamp. So the black lines, you'll see that I'm coloring just ever so slightly, and it gives that little bit of dimension. It's a little hard to see. You'll definitely see it on the other colors, but that it's darker. And so you can see you can do this pretty quickly if you're, I'm just doing that very little bit. I am not an expert colorer at all, and that's what I love about being able to do this. Now this is the pecan pie. This is the light pecan pie, and you notice I'm going to leave the very top of it a little bit and a little bit of white space on this. And I had seen somebody color the flowers this way, and I thought, oh, that was very clever. Gave it a little bit extra by doing so. And now I'm going to take the dark and I'm going to use the bullet tip, as I mentioned, and see where all these little dots are. Well, I'm going to go over them as well. And it just gives it just a little bit of texture. You can see that. See how that is? And you'll see as it goes on, it lightens up a little bit. So let's do the flowers. For this, I'll use the light balmy blue, and it's the bullet tip again. So I'm coloring these in, and I'm not being too careful because I want to give it a imperfect look. I don't want it to be, perfectly colored within the lines. You could if you want to, but having a little bit of white space left gives it a really nice look. So I'll do that. I'm doing it really quickly. Okay, so you can see how that came out. There's a little bit of white space there. And then I'm going to take the dark balmy blue. Did I say the color before? This is balmy blue. And again, I'm just going to go over kind of the center and loosely, like kind of just color almost like next to it, and next to the dot, which is the center of the flower, and go over also any flowers I missed. And finally, we'll use our light Old Olive, and again, I'm going to use my bullet tip, and I'm just going to color this in, and I'm not worrying about being absolutely perfect. I am trying to color just the leaves, though. I don't really want to color anything else, and sometimes it's hard with these stems to figure out what am I supposed to be coloring and what am I not, but you get the idea. So just quickly covering this with the light color, and I'm going to go back in with the dark and just go over that center line. You could also do the edges. I'm going to turn it this way just because it's a little easier for me to see. And see how I'm just doing that center line, but it just gives us a little bit of dimension. So I'll hold that up. So now that it's colored in, we have the focal point for our card. So what I'm going to do is take this, and this has now become the frame, and we're going to just slide it in here, and I want some of it sticking out, okay? I want it to be like that, so I'm going to get it positioned the way that I like it. I'm going to flip it over and hopefully not move it, which this weekend I moved it so many times I had to redo it. And I'm just going to use some dimensionals to hold it in place and also provide that little bit of pop. So I'm going to use a bunch of dimensionals on this one. I'm usually a little stingy when it comes to that, but I want to make sure. So I have 6 of them on here. You could even use more if that made you happy. And I'm just going to peel these off and then get them put onto my card. And you'll see how the soft seafoam is just a little bit bigger, so it gives it kind of a frame, but it's also popped up. So check that out. Doesn't that look great? And hopefully I got it straight so you can see. Look at that. Isn't that fun? So, final thing, we always have to add something. I didn't add any bling to these cards because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to add. So I went with less is more. But I'm going to use this checked ribbon, and I like to tie my knots right on the spool. So I'm just going to turn it around and just get it the way I like it. And I'm just making I want a little knot here. And then I'm going to cut it with my ribbon scissors. Now, somebody asked me about my ribbon scissors. We used to sell these scissors, and because you want your scissors to remain sharp to be able to cut the ribbons without fraying, I have a rule in my house that you never use the ribbon scissors on paper, and that's because paper with all the fibers in it tends to dull the scissors. So it is a major rule in my house that you do not use ribbon scissors. But I think any pair of sewing, what you would deem special sewing scissors would be adequate. You wouldn't have to worry. These are little mini glue dots, and they are from a paper pumpkin kit. And I meant to bring down my Take Your Pick tool, but I forgot again. I'm set up for another event this weekend for demonstrators only called Creativity Now. And so I have supplies set out for that. So they are upstairs. But going to just put my little glue dot on there, and there is my card. So you can see how I took Kim McGillis's card, and I changed it up just the littlest bit to make it my own. So let me know if you like that card, and if you have any questions about it or about the Sweet Sweet sale. I'd love to chat with you about it. So or drop me a message, and I'll get back to you. So thanks for joining. We'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.